first rapper to have a single #1 on the Billboard 200. Do you know who it was?
Grandmaster Flash?
No. Vanilla Ice.
No, that's the worst thing I've ever heard.
Do you remember his real name?
It's probably like Dwayne. Or Norbert.
Somebody put in the comments Vanilla Ice's real name. Little known fact, he follows me on Twitter.
You're telling me
Vanilla Ice follows me on Twitter.
that Timothy Vanilla Ice Deegans the Fourth follows you on Twitter?
Yeah, that's not his name, though.
Show the people.
I mean,
The people deserve to know.
Which camera am I? Yeah.
You ready?
Let's do it.
Welcome to Paul and Saul. I am Saul.
I'm Paul. Let's do this.
And we're going to talk a little bit of news, getting right into it. First things first, we are talking tourism and the tourism economy. There is a bill quickly going through the Florida State Legislature that would more or less cut out tourism funding from the state, local counties. And
you hate it.
I don't think it's a great idea, but we'll get into it.
You hate it.
So the basic idea is that money from the tourism development tax that we have here would be used to pay down basically the property taxes that you and I pay on our property, right? And so
we're locals, and locals hate tourists, so this works.
Well, I mean, I don't hate tourists. I think tourists are wonderful people. I also don't like the beach. So.
Locals hate tourists. That's how it works.
Anyway, the idea being that it's part of Ron DeSantis's idea to prioritize reducing property taxes as a way of collecting revenue here in the state of Florida.
And it could drop at 30 to 40%.
And it could drop at 30 to 40%
for
initially.
some people. Yeah.
And so I want to hear what you have to say about it first.
I mean, I don't hate it. I know you hate it. I think that it would be nice to have like a middle ground, maybe. Like maybe we could do some cuts, because I think they spent $50 million in Okaloosa County. Is that right?
48, I believe, is the 50 is last year, I think is right. Yeah, 50.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's lots of money that could potentially be saved. Maybe that could run more efficiently and pass some of that savings directly to us locals. I think that would be cool. I think getting rid of it is probably not the best idea, getting rid of it completely. We need to have some presence on social media and, marketing out there to get people to come here versus other places.
Yeah. And so where do we get this 40% number? Well, I basically went into our budget from last year, Okaloosa County's budget. We grossed about $100 million in property tax revenue for the county alone.
Wow.
And we budgeted roughly 48, I think was the number, $1 million in tourism development tax. And forgive me if I didn't get those numbers wrong or right. If I did get them wrong, please forgive me. We'll have the full story in the description of the story of the video. But the idea basically being like, hey, if we're going to replace this, we're still going to need to have some significant property tax revenue. Other numbers that I was quoted. So, for example, the tourism director here in Okaloosa County told me that it would save property taxpayers about $68 per capita.
Well, per capita is per person.
Exactly. So I'm not sure exactly how all that's going to pan out, but here's the reason why I'm concerned about this, because I'm on the other side of the wall from you, right? In the sense that I'd be great with compromise as well. I think that there is room for people to get some property tax relief. How much that is, I'm not sure. How effective it is, I'm not sure.
Right.
But I'm concerned about a vicious cycle where if we take away tourism money, like this bill would ask us to, we would see other destinations continue to market themselves, and people would not necessarily forget about us, but we wouldn't be top of mind when they're deciding where to take a vacation in Destin. And then we would lose out on those tourism development taxes that come back to us in sheriff's deputies, right? Because there's some money that comes from the tourism department to pay for sheriff's deputies and pay for some roads and pay for all the lifeguards at the beach and pay for parks. Especially in the North End. Now, the North End has tourism development tax money that can be used up there. Yeah. They're getting the benefit of this finally, and we're getting the benefit of this here in Niceville finally. And I would hate to see that money basically go away because we had a short-term tax break. and then we lose overall revenue from tourism in the long run because not as many people are coming here. And we already have a 5% deficit this year as other destinations are getting back on their feet from COVID and people are going to other places.
I think it's just really hard, though, to like map directly the value of these things because, like you said, they probably have spent more money than ever marketing here, and we're down 5%, right? So there's going to be a lot of people that say, well, maybe it's not really working in the first place, right? And then, we could have some sort of macro event where Florida becomes the place to be again, while we don't have this money coming in at all or marketing dollars going on at all. And then people will say, see, it worked.
Correlation, causation.
Yeah, it's just way too many things going on to like figure out whether that's working or not. I don't know. I'm on the middle ground. I think we could probably save a little bit of money and push it out to the people, and that would be some goodwill.
Yeah, well, we'll be watching this story as it continues to develop in the State House. And, of course, it's gone through both chambers. The governor can sign it and put it into law whenever he feels like it.
Yeah.
So we will be updating you guys on this and the fallout from this.
Could be much ado about nothing.
Okay. I see what you did there.
Yeah.
And bringing on ADUs, accessory dwelling units, kind of our second story for today is another bill that's going through the State House right now, kind of working through the plumbing over there to make it easier for people to build and rent out or otherwise maintain accessory dwelling units. Those are mother-in-law suites that are not attached to your house, sheds that are livable.
She sheds.
She sheds.
Or man sheds.
Man sheds.
Man sheds. No, these are ADUs are something that's spreading all over the country, and the more I always tend to not want to use the word progressive because people automatically go to the politics side of things. But like, if you want to think about real estate and being as forward-leaning in development as possible, then you have some rules on ADUs in your books. And so I'm excited that Florida is doing this because I think it allows people more opportunity to do things with their property that they couldn't do otherwise, and sort of mandates that everybody in the state, have some ADU language on their books.
Which we just checked, and Niceville doesn't. Not
Yeah,
really.
yeah. Niceville doesn't. I don't think Niceville has anything specific for or against, right? But there are some things that would make it difficult in the code to put in ADUs. But I actually had a discussion with city leadership at one point about ADUs, and they seemed relatively pro ADU. So I'm hoping, maybe we can reach out to them. But I'm hoping they have something in the works that's already along the lines of what the state is, proposing here. But yeah, I mean, I think you should be able to build a mother-in-law suite, an office out back, a she shed, a man shed. I think you should be allowed to do those things.
Well, I mean, if anything, right, we can appeal to a lot of people by just reminding them that they have property rights, right? And we should be able to do what we want to a reasonable extent.
Listen, I'll tell you right now, if you were able to build a one-bedroom, basically an apartment in your backyard, you could probably get $900 to $1,200 a month in rent for it right now. So it could be a significant moneymaker for some people too, who are on fixed incomes. But maybe they have a little bit of cash they want to put to work in making their property a little better. I think anything that's sort of, for Niceville anyway, anything that increases density on current lots, I think is a win because we don't have a lot of land.
I totally agree. I think that if we want to be able to have our kids come back here and live and thrive in an area like this, there has to be starting housing, and there's just not very much of that. And
That's
so
right.
if we can, instead of blowing up the whole thing, knocking over a whole neighborhood and building an apartment block, right? Because nobody's going to go for that. What if we do
it would be
something smaller?
luxury. It would be
it'd be luxury. It'd be
apartments.
$1,800 a month for a one-bedroom apartment, and
probably
people that are not in the military can't afford that.
Right.
And
We need some ADUs. So I'm happy to see this at the state level, and would love to get a more formal take about what Niceville thinks about it.
right on.
So.
Well, we'll be right back after this message from one of our fine sponsors. Thank you so much for joining us on Paul and Saul. If you want to get this show to a broader audience, consider following us on whatever your favorite social media is. We're there. Or leaving us a review on your favorite podcasting app, because we're back on podcasts again. It'll help more people find the show, and it really helps us out in order to get local news into the ecosystem. Is that what I'm looking for? Well, anyway, thanks so much for watching and listening and giving us a like or a follow. Back to the news. All right. So story number 3.
The NFL draft.
The NFL draft.
And how it affects Niceville.
It is not often. Yeah. I mean, how many people get drafted? There's 32 teams times 7 rounds is roughly 240-ish players get drafted every year. 238, I think, is what it is. And where's my paper? I'm going to get your name right. Azareye'h Thomas. Sorry, it's only taken me 3 years. Was drafted in the 3rd round by the New York Jets.
Yeah,
Broadway Joe's smiling down, unless he's still alive, and then he's smiling.
Pretty certain he's still alive.
Nearby. As Azareye'h Thomas makes his way up to New York to join his new team. This is a big win for Niceville and Niceville football, the town itself.
Yeah, I mean, as most people know, his brother's already playing over at the Cowboys. And this is just huge for our small town to have 2 NFL players. And we wish him the absolute best luck. The Jets always haven't had the best luck in the draft or lately in general.
Well, he's not a quarterback, so that's good.
Yeah, that's true. That's absolutely true. And it's better to have the last name Thomas than Sanders right now, so that's pretty good.
Indeed. So we're looking forward to seeing what he does this year at Florida State. 2-10 Florida State. He was pretty much the only bright spot on what I would consider a continuously active dumpster fire in Tallahassee. I know you would consider it a continuously active dumpster fire.
I tend to hold my breath when I drive by it.
Indeed. But as a Florida State alum, I guess I'm technically an alum. I got my graduate degree there. That counts, right?
As degrees from FSU.
Okay. Anyway.
No, we wish him the best, man. I'm excited for him.
But he he had significant pass breakups. I think he had the 2nd most tackles on the team, and had a interception against your Florida Gators in the Florida State game this year.
We won't comment on what the score was.
We will not, because it was unkind. And big win for him over there as we're watching him. Older brother Wanye is over at the Cowboys, like you said. And, it just doesn't happen. It's not something.
It's pretty amazing if you think about our small town. Not only those 2 guys, but you got Reese Hines, who's like bouncing in between, AA and AAA, and getting into the league with the Cincinnati Reds. And so to have the athletes that we have coming out of here is pretty amazing. And I know that you have an upcoming story about Niceville football.
Yes. So coming up after our talk, right, the interview on the end of this show, talking to new Niceville head football coach Richard Morgan. Coach Morgan comes to us from Marietta, Georgia. I asked him all the questions, even the hard questions. Talked a little bit about his record immediately leaving Marietta. Talked about the positive stuff that's gone on as well, the things he hopes to do here. He's an interesting guy. He's got a lot of plans for Niceville High School, and I think he's going to be like the sheriff, man. I think he's going to be. He's a type A. He expects a lot from his guys. You can kind of just tell how he talks. Yeah, he's one of those guys that is not going to accept excuses, and he is. He emphasized local kids. He emphasized kids going to class. Right. And he emphasized winning. And so I'm excited to see the first day of spring practices today. So he's going to have to get all of his ducks in a row. He has until the first week 1 of the high school football season is August 23rd.
That's so crazy.
So he has 4 months. And
big props to you to first of all getting the interview. I mean, that's really why local news matters. Local news matters. Like, no one else is going to interview him before the start of the season, and you got him. And we're going to get to know him a little bit better because of that. Because right now you do have people talking about, like, oh, he didn't have a winning record the last 2 years, but he's got these 2 state championships from 2 different states. And so there's this mixture of, like, excitement, but also, people are concerned and tamping it down a little bit because of that. And so really cool that you got the interview. I think that's awesome. I hope it gets like 1 billion views. And super excited for the football season. I'm not trying to give them an out, but it's probably a little bit of a rebuilding season for us. Yeah. We're not going to have the same level of talent on our team that we did last year. But super excited to see what he can do in Niceville. So.
Absolutely. And then coming up this week on Mid-Bay News, we're looking into more allegations and investigations concerning the former jail director of Okaloosa County, Nolan Weeks. We'll have a more full report than what we have so far. later this week. I'm putting the finishing touches on it.
So 1 out of 10. 10 being the shadiest you've seen. Like, where does this fall?
Oh, man. The whole situation?
Yeah.
Whole situation's like a 7.
All right.
Everything from his brother having a insurance company that set up right after another insurance company kind of explained how it worked at the jail, according to the investigation. I should say this is all according to Okaloosa County's own internal investigation.
Wow.
Learning some new stuff that's been dropped into my lap that I don't want to give away until it's ready to go.
Yeah, sure.
But
It's a heavy 7.
It's not. If anything, it doesn't look good, and the appearance of impropriety is sometimes just as bad.
Yeah, right. The whole smoke, there's definitely some fire.
Exactly. And then looking into the state legislature's bill on customary use, despite all odds, this bill to basically roll back the clock in Walton County to 2018 has passed the House, it has passed the Senate, and it passed the Senate on a 27-2 vote. The only two...
People are going to be mad when they lose their beachfront.
People are going to be... A small group of people, the 1,200 people that... No, but that's the reality of the situation, right? Is you can only yell so loud when there's 1,200 people, right?
But they're going to be mad.
And I don't doubt that. But my point is that whether or not it's right or wrong is immaterial to how loud people will be.
Sure.
Because let's say that the people that own the land are dead to rights on this 100%. There's only 1,200 parcels, right?
Right.
And so they're just naturally going to have a smaller number of people coming out, people going to Tallahassee.
Yep, I get it.
On the flip side, there's a lot of people that have rental properties in South Walton that bought them with the expectation that people would be able to visit the beach and use it more liberally than they thought, and they are not. And people are telling me the bookings are down significantly, right? So it's very much
I don't know if that's any causation, but
I hear you on that. But it almost feels to me like I can swing my arm anywhere except your face, but how close to your face is that's kind of the issue that we have, right? Is how close can I swing my arm without it being a violation of your rights?
Yep.
And I don't have a clear answer because I'm not a lawyer, and I want to live. So
some of those 1,200 angry people though have lots of money.
They have plenty of money, as evidenced by Mike Huckabee's lawsuit back in 2017.
Yeah, but didn't he just drop this turd burglar on everybody else, and now he doesn't even own property here?
He 100% did. He sold his property, I think, in 21 or 22, and made almost $10 million off of it, and headed back to Arkansas. So
there you go. Last I checked, there's no beachfront in Arkansas.
There is not. It is
a couple of nice lakes, though.
They do have lakes, and they do have mountainous hills, hilly mountains. I don't know. Anyway, thanks to donors for this past week for helping support not only this podcast, but all of Mid-Bay News in general. We can't do it without your help. So if you are considering donating, we would love to have you. midbaynews.com/donate. Thanks to this week's repeating donors, Jane, Wayne, Joshua, Kelly, Jamie, Chuck and Donna, Lee, and Darcy. Without you, we can't do it. So thank you so much.
We need a name for those donors. And we could put a list up
we could have a
right
plaque
here or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll come up with something.
We'll make sure that you are recognized for your help. Anyway, like you said a little bit earlier, I have a big interview with head coach Richard Morgan after our conversation on this podcast right now. So stay tuned for that. But first, let's talk a little bit about us. You want to get all the latest local news on the Emerald Coast without wading through all the BS on Niceville word of mouth or whatever word of mouth applies to you directly? Well, I have great news. Mid-Bay News is here to help you avoid the excrement by going to midbaynews.com/app or midbaynews.com/newsletter. You can sign up or download our app or newsletter and get all the information there without having to figure out how many people don't know the difference between $100 and $75 or how to bid on things in the privacy of the message chat instead of on public forums. Anyway, that's what we have for you. Thank you so much. And here is my interview with Richard Morgan.
Be nice, Niceville.
Last week, I was lucky enough to score an interview with new Niceville Eagle football coach Richard Morgan. We talked about the stuff you might expect, football strategy, stuff like that. I also asked him the hard questions about his past record, why he's here at Niceville High School, as well as stuff about recruiting and how he's going to play kids from Niceville. It's a very interesting interview, and I got a lot out of it in terms of what I think is going to happen in the next year. So here it is for you now. My interview with new Niceville High School head football coach, Richard Morgan. what is it going to look like on the field next year for the layman that's sitting in the stands? What's going to change?
To be honest with you, I don't really know what's going to change because I haven't even evaluated the kids yet. I'll know a little bit more after spring ball. We're going to run our offense, our defense, and some things may look similar to the past. Some things may be brand new, but it's going to be the offense that we bring in. So after I evaluate the kids, I'll have a little bit better idea of how we're going to operate. Like I tell everybody, it's players over plays anyway. So I'll make sure that the offense is catered towards what we do best and what our talents are. So I'll know a little bit more in about a month of how that's going to look. But we'll make sure we put our players in the best position possible. We'll give our guys a chance to do something with the ball. And we'll make sure that we're attacking on defense. And kids that give us everything they got and play hard are going to be on the field. And we'll play exciting football. We'll play football that the entire community will be proud of.
A lot of people applied for this job.
Mm-hmm.
We picked you, but why did you pick us? Why Niceville?
When I got here, I didn't really know what to expect as far as, the school, the community. And when I got here, I just thought it was a great place. And then I came back down with my wife, and she thought it was a great place. And it just, a lot of things made sense. When I talk about, I'm all about relationships and building that communication and just building that ability to help one another. I saw all that in the people I met here. I see a team of kids that's used to winning, and they're hungry to keep that tradition going. So I just think the combination just made so many things stuck out to me that, this is really a nice place, a special place, and a place that I'd want to, come to and finish my career.
So you've had a couple tough seasons the last couple of years at Marietta. Can you kind of tell me what you've learned from that and how you're going to bring those lessons here to Niceville?
I mean, we played the toughest schedule in the state of Georgia, and we just, we had and we won a state championship. And then after that, we had, a little bit dip in talent, and we played the toughest schedule in the state. And sometimes things work out, sometimes they don't. But I've been doing this for 26 years as a head coach. Overall, I've learned a lot of lessons over 26 years, but the overall record speaks for itself.
What do you want the kids to know when they step on the field for spring ball? What are the important things to coach for these kids to know?
Well, I already met with them and told them. I said, look, everything's going to be new, so you got to learn me. I have to learn you. So really just give me your best effort. Be going 100 miles an hour. If you make a mistake, that's fine. We'll fix it. But we can't fix effort. You got to make sure you're bringing that effort, bringing that hunger, and bringing that desire every day. And if you do that, we can teach you the rest. So that's been the biggest thing is look, there's going to be some growing pains. There's going to be some misses at practice here or there. But the more we grow and develop, that's really what I'm focused on. And like I always say, our standard is greatness. So we're striving for greatness in everything that we do. But the greatness has to start with greatness of effort. And if they're giving us that great effort, everything else will come along. So that's really our focus right now is just striving for greatness and give me everything you got and we'll fix the rest.
Over the past couple of years, Niceville has brought in players from other schools due to transfer rules, things like that. Do you have plans to build on the relationship with Ruckle Middle School and with Lewis to bring in more Niceville players, or how does that whole calculus work for you?
Well, for me, it's all about putting a product out there that everybody wants to be a part of. So obviously, I'm going to build a relationship with the middle school programs and get with those coaches about running our systems and making sure that those kids want to grow up and be Eagles. And why would you want to go anywhere else? So to me, it's the school that everyone wants to play for in our middle schools, and I want to make sure that this is an attractive place for them to come and make sure that we're always promoting that brand of Niceville, and they're going to want to be a part of that. Why would you not want to be a part of that?
Looking outside of Ruckle and Lewis, which are our two feeder schools,
Mm-hmm.
there are always players coming from other places.
Yeah.
Do you find that the transfer for high school, I don't know how to describe it better, is a net positive or a net negative, or how do you look at that whole transfer situation?
I mean, it's different here. The rules are different than they are in Georgia, obviously. And I already made a decision that I'm going to focus on the kids that are at Niceville and the kids that are zoned for Niceville. I'm going to focus on developing them. And then if other people see it as a attractive place that they want to, come to or apply to come to, that'll be on them. But I'm going to focus on what we do here every day. I'm going to focus on this community, building these young men up into great people. And that speaks for itself. And anytime you do that and you're successful, naturally other people want to be a part of it. But my focus is going to be on these kids.
What coaches, either in college or high school ball, do you kind of take a shine to and say these are really great coaches, I want to emulate them?
There's so many great coaches. I mean, there's lots of guys out there. I mean, my high school coach, back when I was in high school, Bob Adams was a great man that, everyone wanted to be like. Nowadays, obviously Nick Saban is incredible, and he's the GOAT for a reason. Kirby Smart has been a tremendous coach in Georgia over the last few years since he got that job. But there's so many great ones. But I've met so many, and I think you take a little bit from a lot of people that you watch and you admire, and you think they're doing things the right way. I think you do that a lot. But I mean, they're all special in their own way. But obviously, those two guys have stood out for a long time.
Looking at the way the community supports this team, the boosters, how do you typically go about building relationships with those outside players that don't ever see the field, right? Teachers and boosters, parents. How does that work in your world?
Well, to me, it's all about visibility and availability. So you got to be out there. You got to be last night I spent my night at the baseball game. The night before I was at the softball game. I've had an opportunity to meet a lot of teachers. Unfortunately, the school year is almost over, so I'm not going to have as much time. But to me, it's all about being out there, being visible, taking care of people, making sure that you're supportive of them. All the teachers know that I'm supportive of them and the work that they do, and I want my players to be the best students in their class, and that high expectation, I think teachers appreciate that. As far as the community goes, I've been here 4 days, but I got to get out there in the community and get to know the people. I got to get to know the people that sponsor us, our boosters, all the people that have been buying season tickets for 40 years. Those are all people that I'm going to reach out to and become a part of the community with them. It's just right now I need some time to get that done. But those are all things that I value as being very important. I think it's important that people see the head football coach. They see him at a restaurant, they see him at a store, they see him at the games, they see him at church. I mean, that's important to me. I think that's something that people want. They want to know who the coach is and what he's all about, and I have no problem with that because that's the way it should be.
What else do you want people to know, either about you as a coach or Niceville as a team? What other things are kind of kicking around your mind right now?
Just that they're going to get our best effort. Me, my staff, the entire team is going to get our best effort, and we're going to strive to uphold the standards of Niceville. You're going to see a bunch of young men that are going to have high expectations, and they're going to have that standard of greatness, and they're going to want to accomplish great things and hope that our team makes an impact in the community and makes an impact on our school.
All right, so did you like the video that we just edited and put up on whatever video platform you're watching? We hope you did. And if you did, please consider giving us a like or subscribe to our channel and tell your friends and family about us so that we can get local news to you and the other people here in our community. And always check out midbaynews.com for our newsletter, our phone app, and the other things that we offer to get the news directly to you for free every day. midbaynews.com.